outrage erupting as in West Virginia, a transgender middle schooler dominated the shot put competition. So girls from the rival school, what they did is they walked off in protest as 13-year-old Becky Pepper Jackson won the meet by over 3 feet. This is just days after a federal appeals court ruled against West Virginia's 2021 Save Women's in Sports Act, which allowed Pepper Jackson to compete as a girl. So joining us now is host of Outkick the Morning on Outkick.com. It's Charlie Arnold. Charlie, great to see you this morning. Outrageous. I mean, once again, by the way, you want to see how outrageous? Just take a look at the shot put meet results. The transgender student threw it 32 feet 9 inches. The closest competitor, female, was 29 feet 6 inches. But they all refused to kind of meet the acknowledgement that this Becky Pepper Johnson was the winner. And I think in the end, this is the only thing, not the court, not the administration. This is the only thing that's going to reintroduce sanity. Women standing up.
Yeah, and it's really upsetting that these middle school girls have to forfeit their opportunities in order to take a stand. I mean, that takes a lot of courage, especially at that age, but they're doing this for the greater good. It's not just for themselves. I mean, if I think back to when I was an athlete, I would want nothing more to compete in every single meet that I was able to. These girls decided, you know what, we want to make sure that people are paying attention. This is the only way, and the only way for, I think, the government to really start paying attention, and especially that federal appeals court that just struck down the law in West Virginia that bans transgender athletes from competing in female sports. It's the only way they're going to start saying, okay, maybe we are doing something incorrectly here.
I'm not quite as optimistic. I don't think the court's going to notice the impacts on real life. They're caught up in both.
And I'm just saying, if more girls start to do this, Will, it's going to take a whole lot more than just these 5 athletes in this one circumstance.
The problem is the courts follow the Biden administration, they follow Title IX, and the whole thing's driven now by identity politics, and somehow gender has superseded women, which some have noticed. Angel Reese, by the way, I think she went 9th in the WNBA draft from LSU. She tweeted, "Protect young women in sports." Now, not a lot of explanation beyond that, but that's an example. If that is about men invading women's sports, that's an example of what is necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. And Angel Reese has a massive platform. Again, we don't know what direction she necessarily meant this post to go in, whether or not she was requesting for people to start listening up to keep trans athletes out of women's sports, or she was meaning something just a little bit more fluffy instead. But the fact remains is people are starting to notice. This conversation is growing even louder, and I commend every single athlete, whether they are a young girl, whether they are a full-grown adult athlete, for taking a stand, because it truly does take a lot of courage at this point in time, because I know that every time, for example, even I have opened my mouth, I get called the worst names in the world, and it's a horrible thing, but you know that you're doing something for the greater good, and that's what matters right now.
The schizophrenic absurdity of our leaders, the Biden administration, allowing men to invade women's sports, and Kamala Harris, I don't know if you saw this, Charlie, has now decided that the cause she would like to take up is Caitlin Clark's pay salary in the WNBA as compared to NBA. And her fight there is now not against gender, but it's about simple economics. But this is the fight of our leaders in America. Absurd. By the way, you can catch Charlie on Outkick the Morning every weekday, 8 a.m. Just go over to Outkick.com and watch Outkick the Morning. Thank you, Charlie.